Thanks, Hugh. I'm Elizabeth Glinker, and you're watching Midlands Today. Good evening. Aid workers here in the West Midlands are tonight trying to raise money to help communities devastated by the major earthquakes on the border of Turkey and Syria. More than 7,000 people have been killed in the disaster, which has seen thousands of buildings collapse. Efforts are ongoing to try and find any survivors still trapped. Audrey Dearce reports.
Shireen Mahmood can't believe what she's been watching. On both sides of the border between Turkey and Syria, the impact of the earthquakes and a series of aftershocks has destroyed communities and killed thousands. She was only there last year, working for Birmingham-based charity SKT Welfare.
I've been to these areas that have been affected. The Springs of Hope project has sustained some cracks and things in the building. Yesterday we had to evacuate to emergency shelter. One of our team members has lost a family member in the earthquake. With the community that I'm in touch with, somebody's lost contact with their family, their whole family. They haven't been in touch.
Shireen has been inundated with offers of help on social media. While we were filming, she took a call from Kate, a volunteer in southern Turkey, who was keen to play her part as well.
My husband is a builder and, he said maybe in the coming days and weeks he can go and kind of offer to help build temporary shelters or kind of whatever, really.
The hospital the charity built in the Idlib province of Syria has been taking in casualties from the disaster, and they've launched an appeal for urgent relief donations.
Our teams again in Syria, our doctors have been working tirelessly around the clock in the hospital. But in addition to that, the wider team has been out distributing food, blankets, just to keep warm.
Rescuers have been combing through mounds of rubble, often working by hand in a desperate search for survivors. Thousands are still feared to be trapped in the collapsed buildings. The UK is sending a team of 76 search and rescue specialists to help people all over the world rally round to support two countries facing a major humanitarian crisis. Audrey Dearce, BBC Midlands Today.
Other news now, and 6 men have been arrested on suspicion of murdering a 20-year-old man from Walsall. Bailey Atkinson died after being stabbed in the town centre last month. 2 men were arrested yesterday in the Leamore area. 4 others were detained this morning in Worcester. All 6 remain in custody for questioning. 2 teenagers have already been charged with Mr Atkinson's murder. Nurses across the region have been taking part in another day of strike action in the ongoing dispute about pay and safe levels of staffing. It's the 6th day of industrial action organised by the Royal College of Nursing. The government has urged nurses to end the dispute, citing the harm to patients, but unions say ministers are refusing to engage in meaningful negotiations. A wheelchair user from Shropshire has completed his challenge of taking part in 7 marathons on 7 continents in 7 days. Darren Edwards, who's paralysed from the waist down, started in Antarctica at the end of last month. He finished this morning in Miami. He's raised £48,000 to support the Armed Forces Para-Snow sports team. Now, a new pilot scheme in Shropshire is offering farmers free health checks when they take their animals to the local livestock market. Organisers say they hope to spot health problems early and encourage farmers to discuss concerns. Ben Sidwell reports.
210, 200 trolley, 2. Shrewsbury Livestock Market is a place very familiar to farmers in Shropshire. But today there was also something a little more unusual at the market.
So what we're doing today is we're having a look at people's blood pressure. Okay.
The opportunity for farmers to get their own health and well-being checked.
I think it's a good idea because farmers are very guilty of not looking after themselves and just looking after their stock. So, making the effort to go to the doctor is something that goes to the back of their minds.
It's important that they're reached out to and encouraged to come. That's the main thing. And it doesn't take long and it's not painful.
Now, my uncle was a farmer. I spent a lot of my youth actually growing up on a farm. And while farmers are very good at looking after their animals, they're not very good at looking after themselves. So having these checks in surroundings that are so familiar makes perfect sense.
Some of them can't even recall the last time they had a blood pressure check, let alone what the reading was or what conversation they had around it. And I think there's been some really fascinating conversations for them and us.
A steady stream of farmers came to get their blood pressure checked at this mobile clinic. The pilot scheme is a collaboration between Shropshire Rural Support, the National Farmers Union and Shropshire Council.
We do brew up health problems. You know, we do work hard, we work long hours, we have not enough time off, we don't have holidays, and it's just a recipe for disaster, really.
The pilot scheme runs for 4 weeks, but it's hoped money can be found to extend it so that more farmers across the whole of Shropshire can make sure they're as healthy as their animals. Ben Sidwell, BBC Midlands Today, Shrewsbury.
Tonight's football now, and in League One, Port Vale drew 1-1 with Accrington Stanley. Meanwhile, in the National League, a fine win for Solihull Moors beating York City 3-2. Let's get that weather now with Sarah.
Hello there, very good evening to you. Again this morning we had freezing fog, temperatures well below freezing. We're going to do it all again tonight. And once more, the freezing fog could be very slow to clear tomorrow morning, but eventually, like today, will be dry with some sparkling sunshine. But you can see just the idea that we'll see that freezing fog forming just about anywhere overnight tonight. Any of us could see it, any of us could avoid it. We'll all wake up though to a frost first thing tomorrow morning. And as I say, where you have that fog could be very, very stubborn to clear, not until late morning, if not the lunchtime period. Eventually though, that sunshine is back with us and temperatures at very best high single figures, 6 or 7 degrees. Typically after that, we will warm up towards the weekend with more in the way of sunshine.
Well, that's all for now. Midlands Today is back with your next update in Breakfast from 6. Until then, good night from all of us.